Respawns are coming to PUBG, and is this the biggest PUBG update ever? Well, ultimately, it's up to you guys to decide. In this video, I'm going to be going over the patch notes for update 23.2. So I was able to test out this update on the test server, so I have some in-game experience. So I'll share some footage and all of that stuff in this video. And I'm kind of guessing here that there might be some old PUBG players or people that maybe have never played PUBG clicking on this video wondering what's up with this game and the respawns and what's going on. But I just want to give you guys a brief kind of intro or background on this update because it is a big one for PUBG. It's kind of big news. Recently, PUBG hit their 6-year anniversary back in March 2023, and they came out with marketing around a new beginning of PUBG. And so far, this is their second update since then. They've had the April update and the May update where PUBG is modernizing the game. They're speeding up the circles, speeding up the games, making them quicker, and now allowing you to get into more games faster or get back into the action faster by having respawns in the game. Previously, if your teammates died, they just have to wait the entire match. PUBG implemented a comeback BR, their own take on kind of comeback into the game, which only works in the beginning of the game. And now they're fully bringing the respawn mode back into the game, but it's only debuting on 3 maps, including the original map of Erangel at this current time. So this is huge news. PUBG's finally modernizing the game, and PUBG's really been in limbo between a hardcore game and a modernized game over the past few years. And I think with this new beginning marketing, they're really sending it into the modern era. Some people might say this is too late, but for me, it's better late than never, and it's pretty exciting. Hence why, we're making this video again, but I do the updates for all of the PUBG updates. So we'll go through this content, and I'll be sharing some of my opinion in this. So the live schedules are here. This is going to be available on PC on May 17th and console on May 25th. Right now, there are a bunch of maps in PUBG if you haven't played in a while, and they're doing a weekly rotation finally, so you can play more of the maps more often. A good way to remember this, if you're having trouble remembering, is that Erangel and Sanhok are currently always in the rotation, and then they've grouped the desert maps with Vikendi, so desert and ice, and then all of the green maps are together. So we have Tego, Destin, and Pramo in one rotation, and then again, the desert maps, you have Miramar and Karakin with Vikendi in the other rotation. That's kind of helped me remember it, kind of recall the rotation. And speaking of recall, we have PUBG's new respawn system called Recall. And this is an absolute doozy. There's so much information here. So I'm going to give you guys kind of an in-game example of how this works, explain it, and then kind of go over some of the most popular questions I saw in the chat today, because there's obviously a lot of game theory around how is this going to work? How will enemy teams respond? Different strategies and stuff like that. So first and foremost, this is being used with a blue chip inside your character, which is kind of part of the lore in PUBG that the characters have a blue chip in them, which is how they're being tracked in the battlegrounds. And also there's the blue chip detector on Destin where you can see where other players are, kind of like a heartbeat sensor. So PUBG's kind of used this in their lore. They have sort of a light lore. It's not that flushed out, and they don't really update it as much anymore. But there it is. And how this is going to work in game is that every character has the blue chip now in their inventory. So let's use an example that you drop 4v4 at a small compound in the beginning of the game. So you're on Erangel. There's no comeback BR. Now there's just the blue chip system. So you guys get into a fight. 2 of your teammates die, but you end up killing the entire other squad. So all 4 members of their squad are dead. Now 2 members of your squad are dead and 2 members of your squad are still alive. You'll be able to go to your players' death boxes, pick up the blue chip. They weigh 5 weight, which is half of a first aid and just over a energy drink. So it will be easy to carry. And then you say you carry both. Now you're holding 2 of them for 10, the weight of a first aid. You have to look at the map and find a nearby blue chip tower. We've tracked that there's 25 of these on every single match of Erangel, and they kind of switch their spawn locations. So there's probably like 40 or 50 total spawn locations, who knows? But every time the game starts, there's going to be 25 of these locations around the map. So you head to this area, and there's this little generator looking thing that you go to. You have to get up to that. A lot of times this is out in the open. A few of them are in compounds, but you definitely have to make a risky play to go to one of these, right? You might get caught out. Then one of the characters will have to, who's holding the blue chip devices or blue chips, will have to go up to this generator for 10 seconds. It will make a really loud noise that can be heard from like 50 to 100 meters away. And then we'll shoot a giant blue laser into the sky. And then at the end of that phase, those 2 players, it could be 1, 2, or 3, depending on how many people were killed there and how many blue chips you got, will be brought back at the end of that phase via a helicopter like you've seen on Paramo, or the helicopters from the comeback like on Tego and Vikendi. So that's a mouthful, a lot going on there. And this is going to be usable from phase 1 all the way to phase 7, and then it'll be deactivated. So you will be able to bring back your teammates multiple times if it happens that way. But again, because the blue chips are random and the zones are closing in, it would be pretty difficult to do this multiple times. You could be in a zone where there's like no blue chips left, so you're kind of screwed. Or I suppose you could be in a circle where the blue chip is into the very end, and you could possibly bring someone back for phase 7, which in my opinion is a little OP. I feel like it would be better if PUBG stopped it around phase 4, 5, or 6. Going all the way to 7 to me is a little aggressive, but it is what it is. Also, before we move to some of the game theory here, PUBG also has added a blue chip transmitter where you can recall your teammates at any time, anywhere on the battlegrounds using this item. It's a one-time use item, so it disappears after you use this, but it seems like you can use this for all of the teammates that have been eliminated and you have their blue chip, so you could technically bring back all 3 of your teammates anywhere on the map with this device, which is pretty crazy. But again, it says it makes a loud noise, so people will know that you're in the area. I'm not sure if it emits a light like the other thing as well, but I wasn't able to find one of these. I don't know if it's on the test server. If it is, it's extremely rare because we played for a while and did not see one. And I asked some other players, they didn't see one as well. But this is another thing. I don't know if PUBG needed to add in this blue chip transmitter. This is obviously something they could remove pretty easily. I think the stations are enough, but we'll see how it plays out. And then now let's get to game theory about how this works. So one thing a lot of people ask is, can you pick up an enemy blue chip? And yes, that is definitely the case. You can pick it up. We were picking up the bots blue chips, which obviously didn't matter. So there is a theory now where if you knock somebody and kill them, flush them, you could loot their box, take their blue chip, and just go run away. And now the enemy team would have to chase you down to get their teammates' blue chip. You could also drop that blue chip in the middle of a field. So even if the team catches you and kills you, they don't know where the blue chip is. What's interesting about this is on Destin, you could actually use the blue chip detector to spot blue chips in death boxes, which is pretty crazy. So you could like drive around a field if you suspected that your teammate's blue chip got dropped and try to find it. I mean, I don't know how many times that will happen, but it's definitely a possibility and definitely will happen at some point. So that's definitely a strategy. And I think this, or PUBG is intending this to work more for this scenario I use where it's an early fight or a fight at a compound. You survive and now you can bring your teammates back. For example, if you have a random squad mate or your buddy forgets to drop on the plane or is purposely just not dropping with you, if they die across the map, then it's going to be pretty hard for you to go all the way across the map, get their blue chip, and then bring it to a blue chip tower. But I suppose there's going to be a whole strategy about doing this, right? Like, oh, my teammate died in the blue. We're going to drive all the way into the blue, phase 1, phase 2, grab it, bring them back. Now we're back to 4. But then ultimately now it gives the player, if you kill a random player in your squads and this guy's off by himself, you're definitely going to want to take that blue chip at the minimum to kind of deny them from coming back together. So it's even more important that you play together as a team if you want to come back, right? It might kind of discourage some of those strategies. And then you're definitely going to want to be thinking, just like flushing, you might want to not give someone the opportunity to get back into the game. And honestly, who knows what kind of toxic things people will do. I'm already laughing about this, like putting a blue chip in a trunk and driving it off a cliff or something. Who knows? People will be doing these things. But if you can stick together, it's really going to reward that kind of play, which to me is great, because if you win a good fight at the beginning of the match and one of your buddies is, dead, it really sucks to have to restart the match. So now you have this opportunity, which is really cool. And I'm sure there's a million things I haven't even thought of yet. A lot of different questions in the stream, but obviously we'll address all of these as time goes on. I forgot to test if you can use the blue chip tower or the recall tower in the blue. I'm guessing you can. They don't mention anything where you can't. So that might be a strategy going into the blue phase 3 or something, risking it to bring back your teammates. And again, if I didn't elaborate enough there, at the end of the phase, so if you recall them in the beginning of phase 2, you have to wait until the very end of phase 2. And then at the end of every phase, a helicopter flies over the map, and then all of the people that got recalled can jump out of the helicopter. So again, you have a big target on your back. If you recall, it's going to shoot up a big light into the air, make a noise. Then they're going to see a person parachuting to your team. And if it's 2 or 3 of your teammates, everyone's going to know that those people are landing without any gear at all. So it's not just like an automatic win for you to get your teammates back. It's still something that you kind of have to work for. And again, just a reminder that this is for Erangel, Miramar, and Destin off the bat. It's not going to be on maps that have comeback, and it's not on any of the really small maps as of right now. There's a lot of info here, so if you really want to kind of pry through everything you can, but I wanted to give you guys a real game example to kind of help you understand it a little faster. So I thought that was really cool, really interesting way, in my opinion. I think it's pretty smart for the most part, and I'm excited for this in squads for sure, to say the least, especially normal mode. Again, if you play ranked, this won't be there. I think it's the perfect balance of normal versus ranked. Then a really cool feature here, I noticed this in like a casual game recently. I thought they were going to be adding this, is a vehicle marker. So now PUBG will mark on your map the most recent vehicle you were in. And this is an absolute game changer for people like me, because normally I'm talking on stream. I drive to a compound, I get out, I'm talking, looting. I have no idea where my car is. So now you can just quickly check your mini map, see where your car is, go back to it, which is awesome. And I think if you go to your map and remove icons, this will actually go away. And it says here that this feature applies to every vehicle but the mountain bike. So really cool kind of quality of life, just a small little thing here. And then PUBG also added this new feature where if you're driving over 60 kilometers an hour, if you accidentally hit or purposely hit the leave the vehicle button, you will have a 3-second timer that pops up instead of just popping out. So a lot of people, or a few people, are saying, oh man, this is like, easy mode training wheels. They're letting, taking away all of the stuff, regular stuff out of the game. But to me, PUBG, with this new beginning, is trying to get rid of a lot of the frustration of the game, because frustration, makes people frustrated, makes people stop playing, et cetera, et cetera. And this is one of those things that in the beginning of the game, you laugh at yourself for doing this. And I still laugh at myself when I do this, but it's also frustrating if you die because of this way, especially if you're a solo player, you're new to the game, you accidentally hit this button, and then 20 minutes of your time is gone. So they've added this. You can turn it off if you don't like it, or you don't want this feature. But for me, this is really helpful. I sometimes accidentally hit this, especially with my paddle on my controller, on the back of my controller. So this is really nice. I guess the only downside is if you want to do a crazy play, like launching out of a car and then using your parachute, now you have the 3-second delay. So again, you can either just get used to timing that 3-second delay, or you can turn this off. And again, if you're trying to get out of the vehicle, you wouldn't be getting out at 60 kilometers per hour. So it's not something you have to worry about. PUBG is also making some adjustments to the vehicle spawns, which I don't think we need to cover. And then here's another one to help kind of players' frustration, keeping things moving in the game, keeping people alive. They are decreasing the rate of automatic HP loss while remaining stationary. So now when you're knocked, if you choose not to move, you will lose less health over time. We tested this out. It was kind of hard to see the difference. Here, definitely do stay alive for quite some time, but now you just know that you have a decision. If you're not in cover and you want to move into cover, you will lose more health doing so. And if no one's around, if you just knocked yourself out of a vehicle and you're waiting for your team, they're really far away, then you know it's important not to move, so you lose as little as health as possible, which is cool. On top of this, PUBG added in a new feature where now you can bring in knocked teammates and enemies into a vehicle. So they actually hinted this on Twitter quite some time ago. I forget if it was last year or 2 years ago. I think it was last year. They asked, would people like this feature if you got knocked, you stayed in the vehicle and whatnot? Some people were kind of hit or miss in this, and it looks like PUBG kind of went halfway here, where if you get knocked while you're in a vehicle, you'll actually fall out of the vehicle, but then a teammate can put you back in that vehicle, and then you can choose if you want to get out by hitting F or back on the Xbox controller. So again, if you're in the vehicle and you get knocked, you'll still fly out of the vehicle, but a teammate can put you back in the vehicle knocked, and you can get yourself out if you want to. And an enemy can also put you in a vehicle as well. So kind of interesting here. If you're in a really bad pinch, a teammate can put you in the car and try to drive away. It's usually if you get knocked, you're under fire. People are going to be throwing nades. This might not work, and it takes a second to pick somebody up, but this might work and save some people's lives, get knocked out in the open, and is going to add more to the dynamic nature of PUBG. And it's funny to see the characters when they're knocked. We were watching on a buggy that kind of look like they're holding their stomach, like they have a bellyache or something, a stomach ache. So just a funny thing there. People will definitely have some laughs. Interesting update to me. All this stuff is great. Again, decreasing frustration, adding more options, still in the realm of being realistic, not including the recall part, but all those other features are kind of cool. Well, then again, I guess if you got shot, you wouldn't get knocked, you'd die. But you know what I mean? It kind of still fits the whole context of PUBG, at least in my opinion. And then here they've made a slight improvement to the ace. It's actually not getting like a direct buff, but they are reducing the intensity of the screen shake because they said right now that its win rate is marginally lower than expected. So PUBG and other games use screen shake to kind of simulate a recoil pattern to make it, harder. But it's actually not affecting recoil. It just kind of visually makes you feel that way. So there's actually no changes being made to the recoil itself that they're saying. They're just making the screen shake less, so it'll be easier for you to kind of use the gun while shooting it. Then we have a big change, well, at least seemed like a big thing. PUBG's promoting it. People are excited about it. It's this new clan system coming into the game. But after further review and checking it out on the test server, there's really nothing here in my opinion. This is just like a little fun social thing added to the game. But at the end, this doesn't really do anything for me. You can create a clan by spending 15,000 BP. There's a lot of information here about the clan master and how that works and adding people and what if that clan master stops playing. And there's a bunch of information that I feel like you don't really need to go into. Basically, what this does is allows you to be in a clan. You'll have a clan tag, a clan name, and you get an additional XP and BP boost when you play with people in your clan. So if you have some buddies you like to play PUBG with, you can be in a clan together, get a little bit of an XP boost, level up your clan, a little additional thing for you to do in the game, but it's not a game changer. If you don't play with anybody, you don't have to worry about being in a clan. And if anything, I'm a little confused because PUBG changed the BP system to now in the game, you get crates, and that's how you open the crates up and you get BP. You don't just earn BP for playing. So I don't know how you're going to get an increase in BP if they're now in crates. And I don't know exactly what they mean by XP. Is that for the clan? Is that for the survivor pass? I'm not really sure. In any case, this kind of stuff, I don't really dig into too deep. To me, it would be exciting if there was like clan matches, like clan ranked or something like that. But obviously PUBG is already dealing with 1,000 queues. Not that many people play ranked anymore anyways. I mean, people still play ranked, but it's not, as big as the regular game modes and stuff like that. So for me, that would be awesome, but maybe if a lot of people come back to PUBG because of the respawns and other changes, PUBG can eventually add in some kind of cool thing like that. Until then, it's just kind of a gimmick in my opinion, but still fun to have, I suppose. Just a little late on that front. And then really, guys, that's it. Just some UI changes, other things like that. WackyJacky has his skins coming into the game, which is really exciting. If you guys don't know, he's like the biggest PUBG content creator. Really exciting moment for him. And really here, this is about this quality of life changes we went through. The knocks, increased down but not out time, recall situation going on here. All that stuff, guys. The vehicle improvements, so on and so forth. So really, matches are being sped up. You can play more of your maps more often. Respawn is finally here, and I think it's for the best. I mean, PUBG is a great game. I still love the game, but I've been struggling playing the game and creating content for the game because it's just been in a weird spot. It's in a good spot, but it's in a weird spot. These games are kind of getting older now. Battle Royale has been around for a while now. It's not as exciting as it used to once be. So I think we kind of need stuff like this to keep it exciting. And with some people's frustration and disappointment in other Battle Royales, I really hope that people give PUBG a chance. But will they, unless there's some new system set in place where people know that it's new PUBG, right? Will people ever consider it new or better if they don't change the graphics or the engine? Who knows? I think this is a pretty good chance for right now, though. So hopefully people do give it a chance, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider using my code, creator code Blitz5 in game. It really helps me out. It's a free way to support me for making all this content and stuff like that and making these videos. I'd really appreciate that. You could drop the like or subscribe. All of those things are free. And if you want to support me financially, you could drop a sub on YouTube or on my Twitch stream at twitch.tv/Blitz5 and friends, where I stream mostly during the week, almost every single day. So I'll see you guys there or in the next video. And as always, thank you all for watching. I'm Blitz5. And peace out.